Hi, welcome to Dear Dilemma, where you send in your dilemmas and we answer them. Do you need an outside perspective?
Advice anonymously?
We're here to help. I'm Brooke.
And I'm Hannah.
And this is Dear Dilemma.
Welcome back to Dear Dilemma. We are excited to share another 100% anonymous submission with you guys. So I'm going to go ahead and start it off and read this one that I think is I'm
really excited for this one.
This one's a really thoughtful
it's
and
a
insightful topic, I feel like. So I'm kind of excited. And yes, we do read them a little bit like ahead of time before we film.
Yeah, we got to know what we're talking about.
But yeah.
I'm excited for this one.
Okay, so what is your dilemma? How to navigate being friends with people who are religious when you are not. I don't think it's a big deal, but sometimes I worry that they think differently of me because I'm not religious. You both talk about being religious, so I thought this would be a good question for you both.
I really like this one.
Yeah,
especially being, I still like to call myself I think I'm in the Christian toddler stages. They always say you start out as a baby.
I like that.
And then as you grow in your faith, you kind of grow up as a baby would do. So I've been in the church now for 3 years. I think it's been 3. Yeah, my baptism video just came up. So it's been 3 years. And prior to that, I was the friend that wasn't religious and then had friends that were religious, and I didn't know how sometimes to navigate that. But I can tell you from the perspective of being religious and being a Christian and having friends and how I personally deal with it. And to me, I will say this. I think it is your own journey. It is not anybody else's journey but your own to follow your faith if you would like to or not. That is totally up to you if you choose to accept God in your life, if you choose to go to church, or that is 100% up to you. That is not anybody else's decision but yours. So that is how I take it. I will never pressure anybody. If you want to talk about it, we'll talk about it. But I will never have, I do have friends that aren't religious, and I'm never you really need to go to church. You have to go to church. If you're not saved, you're going to die. You're going to go to hell. I'm not like that, because that happened to me, which is why I stayed out of church so long.
It pushes people away if you're too forward about it, I think. You have to find a way to connect and just gently find that commonality where maybe the conversation comes up genuinely versus you need to come to the church with me on Sunday, like you said. You have to do this, you have to do that. And you can be friends with people that have different viewpoints. I mean, look at the world. We have family members and friends that have different political viewpoints. Yeah. We have different religious viewpoints. But we can still find commonality and common ground where we can still be friendly to each other and respect each other's different opinions.
Yes. And just because, we are walking in our faith does not mean we're perfect. We are human. Yeah. We sin. We still say bad words. We still, do sinful things. And that is the whole purpose of walking in your faith, is to try to better yourself. And obviously, yes, it speaks in the Bible that you want to, invite people to church and have them grow closer to God and stuff. But again, I would never peer pressure anybody into doing that, because it's just going to make them run. Now, if a friend was like, hey, I don't really go to church, I don't know what to do, what do you suggest? That's a conversation where I'm like, hey, this is where I started. Here's my story. Yeah. You are more than welcome. Anybody, you're more than welcome to come sit with me every Sunday. I have, join a women's Bible study and just get your feet wet. So...
And it's unfortunate that she feels like maybe people that are religious look differently at...
That's what we call church hurt.
And a lot of people have been,
because I've been at churches when I first started attending, not the current church I go to, I was attending a very more, I don't want to say not modern, but a very...
Was it more strict?
Kind of, everyone really dressed up. It was more of the elderly.
Traditional.
That's what I meant to word. Yes, a very traditional, and I felt judged there because the ladies were looking at me, and I'm like, do I look like I'm like, what is going on? And I didn't like that. And then I went to where I'm at now, and it's just more welcoming. So we call that church hurt, and that's just because things can happen in the church, and there's always, what's that one show that came out about like the mega church? There was a documentary that has come out.
Hillsong.
Yes.
Sorry.
So church hurt is a thing too, and that can push people away that have already been in the church, or people that maybe want to come to church, and then they have that one. It only takes one person to have that bad experience that can push them away. So I'm always open up to a conversation, but I'm never.
You don't want to force it, though, either. Mm-mm. And you don't want that person to feel like you're not welcoming of their friendship because they don't go to church. Like, we can also just say, I understand that you don't believe what I believe, but that's okay. We can still be friends. Unless your friend is doing something, like, totally outside of your moral compass, then I understand maybe, like, breaking those ties or, like, whatever. But I feel bad that this person doesn't feel welcomed sometimes by church members, but I've also felt that too. I think even if you are religious, you feel judged by other people that are religious, and I think that's why it turns people away sometimes, like you said.
Don't get me started on my experiences, because I could have definitely left, but I didn't. But that's for another day.
Yeah,
that's for a whole topic of how to deal with church hurt.
And it also depends on, I think, how you were raised, because if you were somebody that was never raised around going to church, anything about God, how do you even know what it's all about?
Very shocking.
You might just not have an interest in it. Yeah. Or people that are more analytical or scientific minded, I think they have a hard time grasping the two concepts, because there's this whole scientific world that tries to disprove creation. Yeah. And then there's the whole, creation versus evolution. Yeah. So I think that a lot of scientific brained people struggle with that. Yeah. I do understand that. But I was raised Catholic, actually. So I went to a private Catholic school growing up.
I would say it's a little bit more intense.
It's more like ritualistic, in the sense of like kneeling, sitting, standing. You like recite prayers. You recite certain hymns. The priest can't be married. They take a vow just to be solely that visionary for God. And
very different.
It's very different. And I actually didn't have many experiences going to any other church other than Catholic church, because that was how I was raised until I was probably in college. I started to realize that I wanted to explore other options, because I wasn't feeling like I was getting what I needed out of those homilies or those church times there. So anyways, I went to a non-denominational church, and it kind of changed my life. Yeah. Because I then realized, okay, this pastor can be married and have children, and also educate on how to be like a leader in a family. And that was something I wasn't used to that. I'm like, well, priests never could be married, so they can speak on what the Bible says about being a husband and a father and all these things, but they don't have typically, they wouldn't have actual experience with it. There was one priest growing up, I remember he was widowed. So he was allowed to go back and be a priest after he was widowed. So he had been a husband. But typically, that's not common. Yeah. And
then you go to those, if you're a member of those churches that you're, and you know, it's okay to be very, very deep into your faith, and then you have a friend that's not, and then you're like, that this is how it is, and this is how you should be, and this is how you should live. That's not, personally, to me, that's not how I would navigate that friendship. Yeah. I think also there is, I've had a friend who's like, she knows I go to church or whatever, and she's like, can I say this around you? Or like, I don't want to offend you. And I'm like, no, like, be yourself. Like, I'm myself. Like, I've gotten talked to at my church because of things I've done. And it's all a learning walk and all of that. And I don't want anyone to feel uncomfortable around me because I go to church, and I'm still new to it. I mean, I'm only 3 years in, and I'm still learning. We're all learning. No one's perfect. I've been to the churches where it's like, you can't do any wrong. And I didn't like it. And I love where I go now because, one, you can wear whatever you want. I love wearing jeans. I love wearing crew necks because I also like dressing up too. I like to switch it up. But I like going and no one's judging. And then we welcome everyone, especially where our location is. In town is not like the best area. And we don't care if you come in with clothes on that haven't been washed in a week. We have coffee, we have donuts, we want to talk to you, we want to welcome you.
You remember the week that the homeless shelter guys came in?
Yeah, we did pancakes and we're like, please come. And some of them have come back and some haven't, and that's okay because that's what we're there for. Like, I love where we're located because we are like in the heart of where that is where Jesus would have been at. He wouldn't be at the nicest church in town. He wouldn't be with the richest people. He is like where in places that you did not want to go. And that is what I love. And that's what I think about when I'm around people that aren't religious is I want them to feel comfortable around me because I didn't change just because I changed in a way of like, I'm trying to better my morals, I guess, better my faith, better, like now I think about, oh no, if I say something bad or, who's going to look at me wrong. And that's just how I'm changing the thought process.
Can I ask what led, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I was just thinking like, what flipped that switch for you?
To go to church?
Yeah.
COVID.
Really?
Yeah. During COVID, what is it? I say shut down. When we were not allowed to exist basically in the world for a while, something in my head just kept saying like, you need to get a Bible, you need to get a Bible, you need to get a Bible, you need to read the Bible, you need to start going to church. And I've gone to church like as a kid, on and off, like with friends, vacation Bible school, like that's the time I would go. I did Young Life in high school and I love that. But I was never like an active every weekend, like not at all. And I don't know, something just kept telling me, and so I got a Bible during COVID and read it in like 6 months, and let me tell you, that is a big book to read.
I do remember when you read that, and I've been, religious my whole life, and I've never actually read the Bible, like front to back.
Bucket list type of, like, I want to read it, and there's things I don't remember, but that's why we do Bible studies, to learn and stuff, and then once you could like start going in person again, then I was like, okay, I want to find somewhere because I didn't do this just for that. And it took a couple of churches and I found one that I really like, and the support, like the women there are really, really nice. And this is another thing I think of because there's been times where I might want to make a TikTok and I'm like, ooh, is someone going to say something? It's not anybody's place to judge what you do but God's. They can judge all they want and they can say what they want, but that's not their job. Their job isn't to like, well, you did this and you're going to be shunned and all this. No, that is not their job. Their job is like, hey, like, we should probably make better choices and to guide you. That's why I would never want any friends that don't attend church to be like, if they say a cuss word around me, I'm going to be like, oh my gosh, Jesus would never like that. Like, you're human.
Right.
Like, no one's perfect. Even the pastors, they're not perfect. And that is a learning that took me a little bit to learn, and now I'm at that point of like, I'm not going to go and be crazy, but I
like extreme.
I overthink sometimes, and I'm like, I will deal with that when I meet my maker.
Well, yeah, because you answer to God and God only at that
so
point.
if you have a friend that's religious and you're not sure and you're not religious, like, don't change. And if your friend is the religious one and they're being a little bit more like
too pushy,
a little bit too nasty about it, maybe it's not a good friendship. But any of my friends that are watching that are not religious, I hope I've never made you feel like that, because that just,
same.
I'd never want anyone to feel different, because I didn't want to feel different.
Yeah. I try to seek openings in different times, and I usually preface it with like, I don't know your beliefs on this, but like, this has been my testimony and this is why I believe this.
We all have testimonies. Even if you're not religious, you've gone through things that is a testimony, that's what it's for.
And I think kind of speaking on what you said earlier, I think it's so important to recognize that it's every single person's individual journey.
Yes.
And so whether that journey be religious for you or not religious, it's your personal life journey.
And it's never, ever, 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 ever too late to accept God in your life.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I've seen videos of people that are 80 years old that finally accepted God in their life and got baptized.
Yeah.
It is never too old. Again, like she's saying, it is your journey. It is like, as I want to be that friend that you feel comfortable with, like, hey, like, can we talk about this? Like, what are your thoughts? And I'll give you my experiences and I'll guide you along. And like I said, you're more than welcome to sit by me every Sunday. I never want anyone to feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It's your journey.
It is. And everybody's going to be at different levels at different times. Like, even though I've been religious for a lot longer than Brooke has, technically speaking, she is a little bit further along in her faith as far as, like, she's read the Bible. She's attending church more religiously than I am. Yeah. Because I'm not quite there right now because of the things I've gone through in the last year have been really tough, and I'm just more private. I've internally just prayed with God and been more quiet about my own journey right now, and I can't handle being around like the big church setting at the moment. But eventually I'll get back to that, and I'm wanting to get back to watching it online.
We call those seasons. She's going through a season.
I'm going through a season, and it's been a rough season, and I can acknowledge that and just say I'm not where I want to be, but I don't think it'll be forever. It's just right now what I have to do. But I did want to say too, what was so interesting, what changed my life about that church that I said that I went to, their opening was something along the lines of, I wish I could memorize it word for word, but it was like, we're all coming to Jesus. We're all broken.
Yep.
We're all sinners. We should not have that holier than thou attitude.
Yep.
And the broken pieces are where the light shines in, and that's how we get healed by God.
Yep.
It was something to that effect, and every time I heard it and was at church, I got full body chills.
Yeah, because it's true.
Yeah. And it's like too many religious people do have that holier than thou attitude, and it shouldn't be like that. And I think that's what turns people off from having relationships with religious people. Yeah. But we should be leading people to God, not turning them away.
We've had we've had programs come in of drug and alcohol addictions. They've come in during service and stuff of like different facilities. And we've seen those men that you would absolutely probably judge on the street or whatever it may be, life's changed, they've been baptized. They've even like come back, like they've stayed in town and have come back.
That's awesome.
People that live in the neighborhood that you would be like, well, they would probably never step in a church. They feel more welcome at ours. We do picnics or at the park, or we do like hot dogs and stuff, and for certain holidays, and people in the neighborhood will come through, and they like, it's the best conversations. Yeah. So that's where I really like where I attend, because they're not judging. They're going to welcome you as you are. Like, please come as you are. And we're just here to help and love on you, and not look you up and down like, ew, you haven't showered or anything. Like, that is not, and that's why I really like where I go.
I think that's also why I turned away a little bit from Catholicism. I felt that a lot. Like, you walk in and you're not presenting yourself in a certain way, dress a certain way, you get some side eyes. I don't know. Yeah. It wasn't as welcoming.
And I didn't change. You're still
the same person.
I'm still the same person. People know, like, they're like, oh, great, here comes Brooke again. Like, here she is. Like, we got a new pastor, and I finally introduced myself. He's like, yeah, I've heard about you. I'm like, oh no, like, I'm sure he has, because I'm like just always like that fun, positive.
You're a bubbly personality,
and I'm not gonna change and come in any different. Like, God made me who I am for a reason. Yeah. So if you have a friend that is religious and you are interested in having that conversation, and if not, don't change who you are.
You can agree to disagree in that
things
sense
too. Or if they are treating you a little bit different, maybe that friendship shouldn't continue. Yeah.
Or address it and just say, hey, like, I'm not there with my personal journey. Yeah. I'm not ready to accept God. When I am, I will let you know. Or if I ever get to that point, I will let you know. Yeah. But until then, I just need that grace. I need that grace from you. Yep. And, leave it at that.
Exactly. So... yeah, and if you ever have any questions or anything, just message us, and we are happy to help ask any questions. And
we're far from perfect. I just want that out there on the record again.
Listen, not at all. Like, I'll text her and I'm like, what do you think? And she's like, this is like it's okay to do some of the stuff because we all sin, and I'm not talking about anything like really crazy or bad, but I do overthink some things sometimes. Yeah. But I also try to I'm trying to be more positive, I guess, and trying to really watch like how
we always care about what other people are going to think or say. And it's hard to just say, I answer to God. Like, don't look at me. Don't talk to me. I mean, you don't want to be like that either, but it's...
Have y'all saw Mom Talk? Okay.
That could be another episode right there.
We're not perfect. So, yeah. But that's our
Hashtag team not Whitney.
That's a whole other topic. So, but yeah. We wish you the best on that. Don't change yourself. You're who you are for a reason. And even if you don't believe in God or anything, he did make you how you are. So,
just hang in there. Yeah. Keep pushing to have those relationships if it's worth it.
Exactly. Yeah. So we'll see you on Thursday for another episode. Well, we hope you enjoyed today's episode. Join us on Thursday when we discuss a dilemma and how to handle it. And
don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And follow us on our TikTok and our Instagram.
@Dear Dilemma Official.